This sudden and unexpected gridlock prevented the people of Fort Lee from going about their daily lives. It was the first day of school, and the traffic apparently prevented many children from getting there on time. Many people were apparently late for work, and local officials reported that first responders were being delayed as they tried to reach those in need.
On the morning of September 9th, 2013, as the school bell rang at Fort Lee High School, that's home of the aptly named Bridgemen. As the bells rang at that school, the damage had already been done. Prosecutors say it was the intended result of a conspiracy between two officials at the Port Authority, the agency that runs the bridge, and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's deputy chief of staff, who they say all worked together to bring the borough of Fort Lee, New Jersey to a standstill. This in a scheme apparently timed to cause maximum disruption by starting on the first day of school. And the reason for all of this, according to an indictment filed by the U.S. Attorney in federal court on Friday, retribution against the mayor of Fort Lee for refusing to endorse Christie's 2013 re-election bid. Now, if these allegations prove true, these are criminal acts that had an impact far beyond their intended victim. To talk about all we learned this week about Bridgegate, we have on set with us Congressman Bill Pascrell, a Democrat who represents New Jersey's 9th District. That includes Fort Lee. And next to him, Congressman Leonard Lance, a Republican representing New Jersey's 7th District. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for joining us. Well, let me start with the bottom line question on this, because now, according to Chris Christie's camp, this is good news in a bad situation for the governor, because the governor was not indicted. He was not implicated by federal prosecutors in all of this. His name is not coming up in any of the formal papers here. At the same time, as soon as David Wildstein, the Port Authority official who cut the plea deal, as soon as he cut that plea deal on Friday, his lawyer goes outside and says, yeah, Chris Christie knew about this at the time, and there's evidence to prove it. So, bottom line question for you, do you think Chris Christie knew about this, Congressman Pascrell?
I still don't know that. I've looked at this inside and out. It deals with my constituents, although other things have happened beyond the bridge. But I'm more concerned about the citizens of Fort Lee. And when we talk about violating civil rights, when you're talking about violating people's right to maneuver and product going from place to place, you're talking about pretty serious business. So we will allow the judiciary system to do what it has to do in terms of Bridget Kelly and Mr. Baroni. Weinstein has pleaded guilty to many charges. We'll see what he has to say and what comes from this. I think the governor has been exposed through all of this. Whether he is guilty of knowing or not going, to me, is secondary. He has been exposed, and I think his administration has proven to be a disaster for New Jersey citizens. That's more important to me than dealing with the intricacies. The courts will deal with that.
So let me start with you, Congressman Lance, on this, though. Are you confident that Christie didn't know as this was happening?
I believe the governor, and I think he took immediate action when he found out, and this is a true leadership. The underlying behavior was appalling. I condemn it. But leaders are faced with these types of crises, and I think that he took immediate action when he found out about it.
It's being done in his name, in the name of his re-election campaign. That's what prosecutors are saying here. Is the mayor is refusing to endorse Chris Christie's re-election campaign. The fact that, according to prosecutors, these three would feel some impulse to do something as dramatic as messing with the George Washington Bridge to get a mayor of a town of 30,000 to endorse the governor. Does that say something about the culture of that administration?
I think it's the culture at the Port Authority, and I think there needs to be major reform at the Port Authority, and Governor Cuomo and Governor Christie and the legislative leaders in Albany and Trenton now have to come together. But I think the governor took immediate, direct action when he found out about it. And I contrast this with President Obama and the Lois Lerner matter, and of course the other matter.
Now we're getting far afield.
Wait a minute.
But let's stick to Christie.
Yeah, I want to respond to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk about the culture of the Port Authority. We knew about that long before Chris Christie was the governor of the state of New Jersey. And we can't blame the Port Authority on Chris Christie, although there is a culture within this administration in New Jersey. There is a culture here, and it's being peeled off a little bit at a time. That culture started, I think, when Chris Christie was the Attorney General. The U.S. Attorney. A federal U.S. Attorney. When he was appointed by a president, okay? I don't want Chris Christie to be in the position of appointing the next Attorney General. I don't want him to be in the position of appointing the next Secretary of State or the next head of the CIA. I think that his credibility has been diminished by all of this. I'm not accusing him of doing anything illegal. That's not the main question.
So what Congressman Pascrell is saying is, look, David Wildstein was a Christie appointee, Bill Baroni was a Christie appointee, Bridget Kelly was